Hey there, I just wanted to kind of test out an idea here. I'm going to be teaching the subject of mode shapes and how they relate to pentatonic shapes and caged shapes to one of my students. And it's one of those concepts that I've done for so long, for decades, four and a half decades, that I don't even think about it anymore. And now the rubber hits the road and I have to start thinking about how to explain it. So um, at some point, I'll probably make a heck of a lot more slick presentation than just sitting down in front of my microphone here with my iPad over here, recording to Zoom. But I'm just going to try this as a test and just see if people like the concept, essentially. And I don't know how many people will see this, maybe not too many. Okay, so what I'm going to try and explain here is one way of looking at modes, sort of as shapes, not in terms of how they sound, but in how they map out on the neck, and how those relate to our standard pentatonic shapes, and how all three, or how those relate to caged shapes. So I put together some neck diagrams to hopefully exemplify this a little better. And for this example, I'm going to be staying in the key of C. Or if you want to think of it as A minor, that's fine too. Doesn't matter to me. Either way is fine. We're going to start with what appears to be an A minor. So if you want to think about it in that term, that's great. It's essentially, it's the same key signature. So, all's good. Okay, I'm going to switch camera here real quick. Get this correct? Yeah. So now we have guitar cam. So the first position, and probably the only one that we'll be discussing for the length of this short video here, soon to be short, would be the shape that takes place right here on the 5th fret. And if you want to think of this as A minor, because I'm playing an A minor chord, that's probably pretty handy. So as I play an Aeolian mode shape, and I'll tell you what, I'll go ahead and share my screen so that you can see a little better what I'm talking about here. Okay, so again, the mode shape that I just played was the Aeolian mode shape. Geez, good playing, Doug. That's what happens when you don't warm up before you start trying to play, huh? Yeah. Okay, so if we want to think of that first shape there at the top, the Aeolian mode shape, as having an equivalent in a pentatonic shape, keep your eyes on that Aeolian mode shape, and when I switch over, watch what happens there. You see how that pentatonic shape and the Aeolian shape have a lot in common? Essentially, that Aeolian mode shape is the same thing as the pentatonic position 1 with the addition of more notes. Okay, just keep looking at those as I'm shifting back and forth. So now I'm going to play pentatonic position 1. shift back and play the Aeolian mode shape. See how those have a lot in common there? Essentially, you know, the pentatonic is just missing a couple of notes from the Aeolian. Okay, so now we've got a similarity drawn between the Aeolian mode shape and the pentatonic position 1. Now let's think about what things look like in terms of caged, you know, in terms of that caged fretboard navigation system. Okay, so I'm going to switch back and forth a little bit. Keep your eye on the top diagram there. See how we've got pentatonic position 1, and you see how caged G is essentially the same thing as the pentatonic position 1, except with fewer notes. So, oops, excuse me. Yeah, I tend to play a G a little differently. So you can start to see how those fretboard navigation systems, you know, the mode shape system, the pentatonic shape system, and the cage shape system, how they all relate to each other. Now, I haven't even touched on the fact, you know, we've just stayed in the key of C, and we've just stayed with those shapes that are on the 5th fret. Of course, you know, you've got 5 other mode shapes that you can use, and I know that there are 7 modes, but the Locrian and the Ionian are so close together, and the Lydian and the Phrygian are so close together that I pretty much just lump them into the same mode. And it also makes a little easier explanation when you're looking at these in terms of how these mode shapes relate to pentatonic shapes and to caged shapes. So let's see, where was I going? Oh yes, I kind of got off the track there. So we have only examined this in the key of C, or A minor if you prefer. We haven't even looked at any of the other mode shapes, the Locrian, the Dorian, the Phrygian, and the Mixolydian. We haven't looked at, you know, any other pentatonic positions other than 1. There's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And in terms of, you know, thinking about things in caged, we only looked at G. We didn't look at E, D, C, or A. But again, this is pretty much just a rough video here, just to kind of see if it makes sense to people. I'm hoping it does. I'm not sure whether I'm going to make this public on YouTube or not, but I might, just for the fun of it, just to see if anybody gleans any knowledge from it. Okay, thanks for watching. Keep practicing, and make sure you warm up before you do any instructional videos.